Hello and welcome to this very short lightning talk, 10 minutes or so, which I've called the Military Stoic, and it's really my reflections on Stoicism, having discovered the philosophy only a couple of years ago and relating it to my military experience, which ended about 12 years ago after retiring after 20 years in the British Army, serving in the Royal Electrical Mechanical Engineers, and a career that spanned lots of adventures, lots of opportunities for travel and service and leadership, and also an opportunity to be an instructor at the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst here in the United Kingdom, which is much like the sort of West Point over in the United States there. So it's an absolute privilege to be here with you virtually on this Military Stoic conference. And I think really the first thing to say is that, I'm not an academic. I've only discovered Stoicism in the last year or so through the works of people like Donald Robertson, who you're hearing on this conference, Ryan Holiday, Tim Ferriss, John Sellers here in the UK, and various other authors and speakers who are bringing Stoicism back to perhaps more contemporary audiences and times. But it's amazing to reflect on the works of people like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, and all the sort of founding fathers of Stoicism some 2,000 years ago, how their writings, how their teachings are so relevant to life today. So really, this is just a reflection on perhaps how I found Stoicism, and the studies I'm making into Stoicism now make an awful lot of sense when I relate them back to some of the tenets, the teachings, and the principles of military service. And I have to say that I've probably studied leadership now as a leadership coach and consultant, and also a podcast host. I've probably studied more about philosophy and Stoicism and leadership than I ever did when I was serving. And you know what it's like, you get so busy and wrapped up in things. There's an education pathway, there's things to study, there's courses to go on, there's staff college and everything else like this. But it's only after becoming a civilian and applying lots of the key understanding of leadership and bringing it to a commercial audience, and then discovering Stoicism, that I've learned so much more about it. I often wonder, had I known then what I know now, would I have become a better officer? Would I have been a better servant leader to the troops under my command? I don't know. I'll never know that. But I think one of the things about Stoicism and the study of philosophy is that we can continually grow. We can continually evolve as people. And I think if I was to sum up my approach to Stoicism, it's really about how do we become better versions of ourselves. And I think, and I'm increasingly of the mind that to become the best leader, be it section leader, troop leader, or divisional commander, I think it's all about being a better version of ourselves. And I think Stoicism is a framework, a lexicon, a language around understanding how to become that best version of ourselves. And in doing so, we become better leaders in the process. So here are some of my thoughts about Stoicism. And I think increasingly, as a leadership coach and consultant, I really do resonate with the sort of 4 Stoic virtues of courage, wisdom, temperance, or moderation, and justice. And I knit my leadership talks and programs around these 4 areas. And they do relate so well to what you and I have studied at our various sort of doctrinal colleges and understandings around basic training and all those other things. And even though perhaps we belong to different armies and have very different experiences, I do think that the military concept, this idea of building teams and servant leadership and what it takes to be a sort of warrior leader, really can be boiled down to the 4 tenets of Stoicism. So the more you study Stoicism, and if you're coming across Stoicism for the first time, really do encourage you to look within it and see how closely it relates to your military service. But this is not really about unpacking the 4 Stoic virtues. I just want to talk about 3 military statements, which I think you will have heard of, and really just to look at it from the lens of Stoic philosophy. And so the first one, and it's a classic, is no plan survives contact with the enemy. You would have heard this, no doubt, in many forms. But essentially, this is the idea of you can plan all you like, but reality will throw you a curveball. The enemy will always have a say in what your plan is and what you hope to achieve. It's much like that Mike Tyson quote of, everyone's got a plan until they're punched in the nose. And so I think as military planners and think as military leaders, we always realize that actually our planning before H hour is always going to be thrown off whack, off course and whatever. But if you look at this statement from a Stoic philosophy and a Stoic perspective, no plan survives contact with the enemy isn't a fatalistic viewpoint. It's a viewpoint grounded in reality, in that there will be obstacles in the way, and the impediment to action becomes action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacle is the way is really embedded in this statement. There's also the love of fate, amor fati, accepting that stuff is going to happen. Life is a series of problems interspersed with the odd crises. So this statement here really is embedded in how we think as military planners and leaders, and accepting that actually things will never be going our way. There will never be a linear process. And so baked into military training and military doctrine is this Stoic underpinning of shit's going to happen. Let's deal with it. What can we do? What is within our control when we're faced with these obstacles? And if you think of things like mission command is all about embedding into people this ability to think under pressure and to grasp the nettle, and those situations that, we think about, what can I do right now to affect this? What's my understanding of the commander's higher intent? And what is within my gift, my control to do right now? And so if you think about mission command, if you think about this statement, you will see that Stoicism, and if you think about what the other speakers are saying on this conference, really is baked into this fundamental military statement: no plan survives contact with the enemy. So think about that as you begin to study and go into greater depth about Stoicism as a philosophy, but how it relates to you and your military service. The next one is my platoon sergeant really drilled this into us, the statement of first my troops, then my weapon, then my kit, and then myself. And as I study philosophy and Stoicism, I think back to this statement, which was really just drilled into us. And this is grounded in sort of Stoic philosophy. If you think about, this is all about service for others before self. This is all about delayed gratification. This is about putting the hard yards in. This is about building resilience. This is about enduring. This is about not putting self first. This is fundamentally putting your men and women under your privilege that you have to lead first. And then, throughout your military training, Stoicism has been there, whether you realize it or not. And even if you don't believe that Stoicism was baked into these statements, when you discover Stoicism and you reflect upon it, you can see how it provides that language, that lexicon, that framework of understanding what is being said from a sort of philosophical level. And of course, Stoicism is a very practical philosophy. So, and that's why I think it really does gel well with the military mind, is that it is not, as sort of Ryan Holiday refers to, the pen and ink philosophers. This is real practical stuff. So, troops first, then weapon, then kit, then self. About endurance, building that resilience, and putting others before self, that Stoic virtue of justice, contributing to a higher cause, being that servant leader, is certainly baked into this philosophy. And the final one, and you may have come across something similar in training, or in peacetime, we train hard in order to fight easy. And I love this statement, because so much of it, and if you relate it to Stoicism, is really about that working on self. It's about really investing in self and our own growth in order to be better when we're in the realm, and we're in the sort of the arena, if you like. And whilst this statement's all about the ultimate extension of military power, that fighting on the battlefield, I think if you look at the statement of train hard, fight easy, in the sense of becoming a better version of yourself, this is about doing the hard work now for no sort of immediate gratification. It's about investing in ourselves. And I think so much of philosophy and how we can use Stoic philosophy is to become better versions of ourselves. And as I said at the start of this very short talk, it's about becoming the best version of yourself to become the best leader for those that are under the sort of the privilege of your command. So there's so much of Stoicism linking into military life. And all I wanted to do, and gosh, we've run out of time already, there's 10 minutes up, is really to relate what you know already through your military training and how it relates to Stoicism. And I think by doing that, you can see how it is a highly practical philosophy. And it allows you to look at what you know in a different way and take learning from that. And the greatest thing that I can perhaps leave you at the end of this talk is to think about how you can use Stoicism for your own growth in order to serve others well. Thanks so much for your time today. Enjoy the rest of the conference. It's really awesome that we're hosting this. So thank you to the people that have organized this on our behalf. Enjoy the rest of the speakers, and I look forward to being of service to you at some time in the future.